Hello, I'm Scott Bogie here with Nico Echeverry ahead of what's probably going to be the title eliminator fight between him and Devon Dixon at Fury 103. How are you doing today?
I feel fantastic, man. The fight camp has been going great. Weight cut's been probably the smoothest it's been in a while. I've like honestly, it's probably been the smoothest one I've had, period. And it feels even better than the last one. The last one went like I was underweight, and like the day of the fight, like the day of fight camp, I was sorry, day of the weight cut, like the day of the weight cut and the day of weigh-ins, I was still eating. So, and I still was underweight. So right now, I feel fantastic.
It must be nice even when you're cutting weight to just be like, can you just bring in the chocolate cake?
Yeah. Oh gosh, tell me about it. Doesn't matter what it is. Like it was just having simple overnight oats was just like having like the best German chocolate cake I could think of, man. It was just it's perfect for me.
And how do you feel like Devon's going to come into this fight? Obviously, you did see it in his last fight. Mansoor did kind of out-grapple him. Do you feel
Mhm.
like that is probably going to be what he's going to be protecting of this time? Or how do you feel like he's going to come into this fight?
Honestly, it could go either way, really. I mean, I feel confident on the feet. I mean,
Yeah,
last fight, it stayed on the feet for the most part, and
yeah,
I feel like that fight was determined by superior kickboxing. I mean, I understand that there's gonna be people like I have no malice towards I'm not sure if he goes by Earl Arian. I apologize, dude, ahead of time if you get mad at me for getting the wrong name. But hats off to my last opponent. I mean, I understand why tons of people and himself think it's a robbery. I get it, but at the same time, I feel I did more than enough to win that fight, and that was all on the feet. So I
yeah.
showed that like I'm not just a grappler. I'm a fighter. I can fight whether it be on the feet or on the ground. And with Devin, like there's nothing wrong with what he does. He's like a great striker. He is a dog. Just doesn't matter like how hard you hit him. It's just nearly impossible to put him away. But I feel like regardless of if it stays on the feet or if it goes to the ground, I think I'll be the superior fighter that night.
Exactly. And like you're saying, people on his team might think it was a robbery, but at the end of the day, like the saying goes, if you're going to complain, don't leave it to the judges' scorecards.
Exactly. Exactly. I've been on the receiving end of that so many times. Like whether it be really it's whether it be, for me or against me, it's happened. And I
Yeah.
have to agree regardless of the decision made. So I like if you want to actually make sure you put a statement on it, like a period on the outcome, then make sure you finish the fight before that last bell rings.
And what do you think is next once you're able to get the victory here? Because this division could be up in the air within the next couple of months. I think Mansour has signed recently with Adrian Management,
Hmm.
so there is kind of links with him going to the UFC next, which would
Yes.
then make that title vacant. Do you feel like the winner of this gets that title shot regardless of whether he moves or not?
So honestly, if this goes to if Mansour does go to the UFC, then this could be I feel like this could be a title eliminator. But I'm right now I'm not looking at it as a title eliminator.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it as this fight. But if it goes to that, if this fight determines who fights for the lightweight title, I've done that before and I've won the lightweight title and I'm more than happy to do it again. I'd love to be two-time Fury lightweight champion. But right now, I'm looking to get this W over Devin and if Mansour is going to be the next in line, then so be it. But right now, Devin is my primary focus.
yeah. And I do like what your focus is anyone, anytime, anywhere. Like you're saying, it doesn't matter who it is next. You're
Mhm.
going to be a second in that fight no matter what.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, that's like most of my fights have been short. If you look a lot of my fights, like especially ones where I go up in weight, a lot of them have been short notice.
Yep.
With Cody Steele, that was on like 2 weeks notice. With I believe it was Junior. No, no, it wasn't that. It was Tedrick Macklin. That was on 1 week's notice. Steve Jones, 1 week's notice. A lot of fights I have, but on very short notice. But so like I'm ready to step up because I know that it's cliche. It is just an old adage, but I don't get ready, I stay ready. So,
Yeah,
you know how it is.
exactly. And you are part of running the your gym. I know you're like the coach there. How has that been in the last couple of months?
So the last couple months, I've actually been accepting a whole lot more responsibility there. And really, it's been so rewarding. I've been taking care of not only, so for the past 6, 7 years, I've been running the kids program over there as far as
Yeah,
jujitsu and striking MMA. All the kids, it's been like I've had help as far as like how to go about teaching them and how to what the curriculum should be. But as far as running it and making sure that who gets belted up and talking about like how to teach. And to get and making sure all the assistant coaches are there and scheduling all that stuff, that's been on me. So I've been doing that for the past probably 6, 7 years since I've been here full time. But I've now been taking more of a role of not only that, but doing more administration stuff and just leading more classes in the evening with leading more adult classes. And I'm starting to like hit that stride of, okay, I'm not just the guy that comes to teach once a week for the adults. I'm not just
yeah.
that guy. I'm actually a coach that's there to teach not only kids, but to teach all like everybody of all ages. And I feel like I'm really establishing myself as that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you're taking that leadership role.
Yes, exactly. And it feels at first, there's a lot of anxiety for myself when it comes to that stuff because it's just like, am I teaching the things right? Am I good? And like really, it happens because like,
Yeah,
I've been doing this for years, but at the same time, like you can get stage fright doing something you've done over and over again. Heck, even with fighting, I still get those nerves. But with coaching, like I'm starting to really get that confidence in myself saying, okay, I know what I'm talking about. I know the information. I know how to deliver the information to people in a digestible way that they can understand and they can replicate the techniques that I give them. So things are, I feel like I said, things are starting to move more smoothly with the classes, and I feel like I'm really finding that leadership role and taking ownership of, the gym in a way.
exactly. And just like how that's coming together, your game is also coming together. That is now a two-fight win streak. You're going to
Mhm.
make it a third against Devon. That must feel nice to be able to say that.
It feels fantastic. I really looking forward to this fight. I really look forward to, just making it just a very fun and brutal fight for hopefully, no offense, Evan, but I hope to make it a brutal fight for you.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to getting this W and getting on that 3 fight win streak. And if it leads to whether it be going for the title or going into the UFC for the Contender Series or what have you, or heck, even doing a short notice fight for the UFC, I'm 100% down for it.
Exactly. And do you feel like with the contender series coming up, who do you look at in the three division, besides yourself, obviously, that could get into that?
So honestly, there's a lot of like as far in Fury, there's a whole lot of great guys. Like
Yeah,
really, you've had Cody Steele had a barn burner of a fight. Just getting that performance bonus like in his very like after getting signed, like getting the actual contract, getting that 50K win performance bonus for that awesome fight. You have Josh Van, who's been just tearing up the scene
yeah,
like ever since coming back. I think it's what a 3 or 4 fight win streak for him. You
yep.
have
And he'll
Adrian
make it to,
Yan.
he'll extend it this weekend.
Yes, exactly. And then you have Adrian Yanez, who's established himself as like one of the top 15 or even top 10 in the bantamweight division. So, there's a lot of guys, there's Michael Aswell, who had a great fight, and I feel like he has that he can definitely get back and get into the UFC, no problem. Mancher's being looked at as well. I mean, there's also, my teammates, you got Philippe Rocha and David Orande. With Philippe, he's undefeated as a pro, all finishes in like I believe in the first round.
Yeah,
And well, first and the second round, but all finishes. He's got world-class grappling. You got Damien Orande, who's I believe 2-1 right now, and he just both of his wins by submission and both by armbar. One of them being from being on bottom of somebody who's an NCAA like
yeah, like
Division 1
Blockus.
wrestler, which is yeah, Blockus exactly. So like he's like really like there's a lot of great names like and those are just a few of them like and like being able to name two of my teammates like with Philippe and Damien, it feels really good to see that. It feels really cool to see Fury as probably one of the biggest feeder programs, as one of the biggest like purveyors of like future UFC stars. It's really fun, and I really look forward to see who else comes out as a star. Hey, who knows? Maybe it's me next. That'll be a lot of fun too.
Exactly. And it must also bring up the morale in the team, knowing that you guys are going out there, getting the wins, and coming back.
Yes, it feels, I've been doing the coaching and cornering thing for a while, and there's no better feeling than going out there with with about three or four of your fighters and students, and all coming back all W's. Like this past, like I think it was 2 weeks ago in San Antonio, we had two of our guys. Funny enough, it was Damon going against Blockus, and then you had another an amateur guy. His name is Steven. Steven the Terminator Ewald being called up on 1 week's notice, again, 1 week's notice to fight for a title, and being the Terminator that he is, just keep getting just, he had a bloody nose, had a bloody lip, but he kept coming forward and just weathered the storm and melted the guy just on pure cardio and just conditioning alone. And he won that belt again on 1 week's notice at
Yeah.
205. So, like it's a beautiful feeling. Like I had to drive up like 3 or 4 hours, and I was there for less than 24 hours before I had to head home. But at the same time, that was one heck of a business trip. And seeing your students and your teammates bring home the W like multiple times, it just fills you with that great morale to push yourself even that much harder. Like it's a dang good feeling, man.
Exactly. And what do you feel like is the potential of Fury? Like, obviously, it is showing as a massive feeder, but do you feel like this is the year 2025 it cements itself as being that number one organization to send guys to the UFC?
I really think that that is where they're going to be at. I feel like they've really sent. I I don't know. Like I think it's been like what 4 or 5 guys in the UFC just last year, and I feel like with like the Houston MMA scene and Texas MMA scene in general is blowing up, and then you're seeing guys being flown in from out of the country. You see people being flown in from out of the state to fight for Fury, and
Yeah,
it shows just how like far up at the top they are as far as promotions. The UFC, that's number one. There's like they are the top guys. You have your other promotions that are that are there that trying to reach the top, but the UFC is if you wanted to get paid the most, if you wanted to get the most, I don't know, a street cred. I don't know
yeah.
if that would be the way to put it. The UFC is where you want to be. Exact. Yeah. But, Fury, I feel like they are going to be the number one feeder program when it comes to sending guys and gals to the UFC because they have killers, just one after the other. It doesn't matter what division, they are going to be sending guys to the UFC it's not just there to, be fed to the newest prospect. They are either the prospects themselves or they are prospect killers. And honestly, if they send, I would say probably an easily 10 at the least, if not 20 or 30 by the end of 2025.
And then they're not just putting these prospects against like randoms. They have like the Damian Anderson versus Gabrielle fight the other couple of events ago. That just shows that they are willing to put these guys against these other big guys and see who is the number one guy in the division.
Yes, I love that. I love that it's for Fury. They're not about like just building people up.
Yeah,
They do
record
that. It's
padding.
great. Yeah, they don't record pad. Every single person in this division is going to be an issue for everybody. Devon Dixon being one of them. You have Tracy Reeder. You got Bruce. I'm just naming guys in the 155 division.
Yeah,
Bruce Whitehead. You got all these guys that are going to be just killers. And if you send any of them to the UFC for the Contender Series or the main roster, they will like win or they are going to give every single person on that roster an issue. They're going to make sure that they like regardless win, loss, draw, it's going to be hell for their opponents.
exactly. And what do you feel like has been the biggest change since that last fight for you in terms of your training?
So right now it's just been mostly the confidence because in the last fight I just felt like I could have done more. That was the biggest
Yeah,
thing for me. I know I got the win. That's fine. That's great. I got the W, I got the check. Fantastic. But I feel like I could have done a whole lot more. It was just a lot of personal stuff going on in life. And right now I am in a I'm in a good place as far as my mindset, like where my heart lies. It's with MMA, it's with ACS, my gym, and it's with just constantly improving. I'm not completely distracted by things going on the outside. Mind you, there's always things going on outside of MMA and AC and the gym. Like I know there's people that just live constantly that's their life completely. And that's a lot of my life, but I have things going on outside of it. Like everybody
yeah,
else. But right now, I feel like the outside factors, they affect me little to nothing. And I feel like that's like compared to where I was back in November last year, I'm in a much better mental place and emotional. And I feel like as far as like heck, even physical, I feel this is like the best shape I've been in. And you're gonna hear it again, you're gonna hear that all the time. But again, I have to say, this is the best shape I've ever been in as far as fight camps go. So really it's been a whole lot of changing of mindset, making sure to focus on myself, focus on expand on becoming a better coach and being the best fighter possible for this fight.
Exactly. And how big do you feel like the confidence aspect is for the sport? Like for your fights?
Say it again, Scott. Sorry.
How big do you feel like the confidence, being able to have confidence going into the fight is for like a result outcome?
So I'll be honest, confidence is something that has to be like instilled in you before you should go into the cage. You shouldn't try to find your confidence in the cage. I mean, yes,
Yeah,
because like if you catch somebody with a few punches, like and you weren't sure if you're gonna do it, then fine. But don't go in there thinking, okay, I just have to catch him with this and then I'll feel good. No, don't do that. You have to go in there being confident. Sure, be aware of what your opponent does, but don't give them so much respect that you are too afraid to do anything. Like I have these kids that whenever I like 8, 10, 12, I tell them, okay, kids, guys, make sure like you're doing this technique, but Professor Nico, what if this, and this happens? Well, yeah, there's always a risk, but you can't let that fear keep you from at least trying to do the technique. Because if you let that fear dictate it, you're not going to get anything done, and then you're either going to end up on your back or end up losing the fight. So just try to like do the best you can and go for it. And that's how I have to look at this. I can't let some fear of the unknown, dictate what I'm going to do in this fight. And having that confidence beforehand is going to play a big factor in this fight for myself. It's not a matter of, the worst, like the biggest fight for me isn't against, my opponent. It's against myself.
yeah,
It's telling that, those intrusive thoughts, that you're not good enough, you're not strong enough, you need to still do this, you need to do your road work, you need to be lifting more, you need to do this, and this. And it's like I have to kind of push those aside and say, no, I'm doing all these things. I'm making sure that I'm following my diet. I'm doing my road work. I'm doing my strength conditioning. I'm doing all these things. I'm checking off all these boxes. Whoever the person that's in there that's telling me I'm not doing these things, no, I'm not listening to that guy. And making sure that I see that I've checked off all those boxes, making sure that I've prepped for this fight and I'm pushing myself and my teammates and making sure that they are giving me the best looks possible, then I have the confidence. I have enough confidence going into this fight.
exactly. And can you please ask them to announce you as Professor Nico for your fight? I would love to hear that in the ring.
Oh gosh, oh man, I thought that would be great. That would be really fun. But gosh, I already have. Just telling them to call me the machine was one part. I don't know if they're going to call me Professor Nico the Machine Echeverry. I don't think that they'll go that far, man.
And where did that nickname, the machine, come from? Is it just you knowing that you're just a machine, you're gonna get in there, you are just gonna get that win, you got that gas tank, it's just everything's combined.
So the main thing that is part of it, yes, but it's also the fact that with a machine, there's a certain regiment to everything. It's constantly going forward until it's shut off. It's the same
Yeah,
thing with me. I don't keep going forward. I keep going forward until I'm shut off. Whether it be, it's that old again, an old adage. You go out, you return with your shield or on it. And I
yeah,
keep moving forward. I don't stop. Whether it comes to the fighting or when it comes to my training, I'm extremely regimented. Like, even if I'm like not in a fight camp. Some fighters they might slack off. They might, they show up to train maybe twice or 3 times a week. And of course they might have like things going on outside of life. They have jobs, they have families to raise, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, this is what I do. And for me, I am extremely regimented. It's 5, 6 days a week of training. And then I'm doing my strength conditioning on the side. I'm focusing on my diet completely. I make sure I'm completely regimented on everything I do. So that way I know that I'm prepared. And that's part of the being the machine. The machine just keeps doing what it's told until it's told to stop. And that's what I do until I'm told to stop or until I'm shut off. That is how it goes. And that's a nickname that I didn't like. I was known as Nico Echeverry for years. I didn't start getting called the machine. I can tell you exactly when. It was when I fought Tedrick Macklin in San Antonio 2 years ago. That's whenever they called me the machine. And that was because Drew was like, Drew just went up, like he didn't consult me beforehand. He just said, "Hey, Nico, I think your nickname's the machine." I was like, "All right, Drew, whatever, man, that's fine." And then the next thing you know, whenever they're announcing the name, saying, "And in this corner, Wade did this much at this height with this record, Nico, the machine, Echeverry." And then you'll see whenever they say the machine, I'm sitting down on my butt and I hear that, I just smirk. I'm just like, God dang it, Drew. So it's just like, okay, well then it's now the machine. So that's it. So that's how it came about.
You then realize you need to actually pay attention to when he talks.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I need to actually pay attention to Drew. I mean, shoot, being with him for 15 years, it's just like, yeah, sure, whatever, man. It's all good. Like, I still
Then
listen
like
to him as a coach.
next thing you know, he's gonna be like, "Your nickname's Barbie Girl, isn't it?"
Yeah, yeah, sure, Drew. That's fine. Whatever you want to do.
Nico,
Yeah.
Barbie Girl.
Whoa, whoa, hey, whoa, hey there a second.
Well, make sure you tune into Nico's fight. It's got Fight of the Night, title eliminator, everything wrapped into it. It's going to be a great performance, and you're going to get that victory. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming on today.
Of course. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you for everything, brother. Thank you.